I'm fishing with Geoff Roberts with the Department of Fish and Wildlife today. We're at Barren River Lake, and as you can see, it's November and the water level is way down. We're going to try to catch a couple bass today. We have no idea what the pattern is, so we're going out blind. We'll see what happens. You warm up really fast when that sun comes over the bluff here.
I tell you what, another thing I love about fall fishing is the view.
Oh yeah.
You got the changing leaves, wildlife is really active, and hopefully we'll get to see some wildlife today.
When I really don't have a pattern and fishing a little bit blind, I like to try to fish them as fast as they'll bite. So I'm gonna start off with a faster approach and throw a crankbait. And you know what, if the fish don't want to feed that fast, I'll back it down and go to something a little slower.
That's exactly right. You're throwing a crankbait that runs just a little more shallow than this one I'm gonna throw. Yours is chartreuse color, I'm gonna throw a crawdad color, and between the two of us, let's see what we can get going.
Yeah, normally I stay in the shad patterns, but we got a little bit of color to the water, so we're gonna start with this, but I have a black and silver and shad color ready to go.
Clarity's pretty good. For drawdown Barren, I mean, I fished it when it's almost muddy.
Look at this, little white bass.
White bass.
That thing hit right at the boat.
Bonus.
These little jokers can get aggressive.
Sometimes I think their eyes are a little bit bigger than their stomach.
I guess that's the way to get started. Hopefully this ain't how we end. Right there's a pretty good sized hardwood. Be growing right out of that rock like that.
It's amazing what nature finds a way to do sometimes.
There we go.
What do you got?
Ooh, it's Kentucky.
Nice Kentucky.
There you go. We'll take it.
I love to catch Kentuckys. They are aggressive and they fight, to me, I think just as hard as a smallmouth.
They fight really good, and I'll tell you what, really good to eat. This one here may be what we call dinner. Hey Geoff, there's a blue heron sitting up here, you see that?
You know, we talked about some of the wildlife that we're going to see today. Great blue herons are definitely no stranger to the fishermen. Anybody that's fished before, it really doesn't matter if you're fishing a lake like we're on or even a farm pond or a creek, you've probably seen a great blue heron. Similar in appearance, where we are in the state is a really good area to see sandhill cranes.
Barren offers some opportunities for watchable wildlife to come down and see sandhill cranes.
You know, Kentucky State Parks puts on a series of watchable wildlife events, and Barren River Lake State Resort Park does put on sandhill crane watch weekends in January. So if anybody's interested, I recommend you look into that. It's a really neat experience.
Your job with the Department of Fish and Wildlife is an educator at the Salado Wildlife Education Center. And you also are the coordinator for watchable wildlife with the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Yep, that's correct. I really enjoy getting people outside and in nature and sharing my love for the outdoors with people. That's something I got to do with state parks, and it's definitely something that I get to do working for the Department of Fish and Wildlife at the Salado Center. So this time of year, wood targets are always a good choice. We're trying to target largemouth. As the water's falling like it is here, luckily you've got old logs and stumps pretty much all the way down, so no matter what depth range the fish are hanging in, as the water falls during winter drawdown, you're always going to have structure that you can use.
You know, a lot of times people will see a lay down like that and they get so concerned with getting hung up in it that they'll cast out a little bit. And I'll tell you what, there's almost not a better way to entice a strike with a crankbait than to just drive that bill right into it.
You're right. Anytime you can cause a deflection and make that lure look really erratic.
You know, these baits, they got rattles in them, and they just, you get that sound and that deflection, and a lot of times that's exactly what will trigger the strike. We're gonna go change locations. We came to the end of our bluff wall. It's time to turn around and go somewhere else.
Find a new bluff wall. Got a good one here. I'm not sure what it is, but that's largemouth. We already got 3 species. How about that?
Sure do. Got us a white bass, a spot, and a largemouth.
There we go.
That's a nice fish there.
Thank you, sir. Now we're getting a little better.
That fish go 3.5 pounds.
I'd say this is yeah, probably 3.5 pounds. And pretty typical for Barren River Lake, that fish right there. We'll let this guy go. Knew I had something on there. We may get into a little flurry of them here. Little. We need to do a little better than that, but you know what? I'll take it.
Geoff, you know, down here fishing in November, when the water's drawn down, you know how much you can go around and mark structure? You can go find stump piles and rocks and things that you can't normally see. And you can come down when the water's down like this, and you can mark all those piles on your GPS and come back at normal summer pool.
That's exactly right. Sonar has come a long way from what it used to be, but it can't beat. Hang on a minute here.
There you go. That looks like a good fish.
He's bow hooked while he's dogging me so much.
Let me get a net though, because that's a good fish.
I'm just gonna have to let him run for a minute.
He is foul hooked. All right, that's a good one there.
All right. That's a chunky fish. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Another nice 3.5, 3 3/4 pound largemouth.
Good fish.
Right in the middle of our conversation about why we enjoy fishing drawdown in November. I think it's a better fish here.
Oh, that's a pretty good fish.
It's a pretty good one. Oh yeah, I believe this is the biggest one of the day. Now look at the blotches on that guy.
Spotted up.
Just to let everybody know, this really isn't any kind of imperfection. This doesn't mean that this fish has any kind of disease. This is
It's like a birthmark.
like a birthmark or something similar that we might have. We're gonna let this guy go and look for another one just like him, maybe bigger.